Hello, I'm Neve Owens. Welcome to the Isuzu UTE A-League Highlights Show. It's time to find out our grand finalists for season 2022-23. So let's jump straight into the second leg of both semi-finals with both clashes wide open. Sydney FC travel to Melbourne after securing a 1-1 draw with City in the first leg, and Adelaide travel to Industry Group Stadium in Gosford trailing 2-1 to the Central Coast Mariners. Let's start with our free-scoring premiers Melbourne City, who welcome the final surprise package Sydney FC to Amy Park. Simon Hill and Andy Harper are calling the game.
Partly, I guess that's due to the return of Jack Rodwell. And indeed Alex Wilkinson, who's missed part of the season as well. Oh, Max Burgess, that's a nasty challenge. And the Sydney bench are immediately out of their seats and imploring Sean Evans to show a red card. VAR, of course, going to have a look at this again and decide whether any upgrade is needed. Oh, it's a bad challenge.
I mean, it's just stupid.
It's a bad challenge, Max. But let's see. Yeah, yellow card is going to be cancelled. And Max Burgess is off. And Sydney are down to 10. And we've not yet played 20 minutes. Extraordinary. Well, it was already a difficult task to come to a club who haven't lost at home at Amy Park all season. And now they must do it for the majority of the game. Harps a man short, Sydney.
Well, it's totally indefensible. It's not a reflex action. There was no spite beforehand that we know of, at least. It's calculated.
Ooh, even Graham Arnold says, oh.
Yeah. Either that or the curry's just kicked in.
Here's Barisha's free kick, and McLaren off the uprights. Goodness me! From a really acute angle, somehow he craned the neck muscles, and Redmayne grateful to see it come back off the frame of the goal. City pushing, probing for that all-important opening goal. Barisha towards that back post area where Thomas Lamb and Curtis Good were both arriving, and neither could make contact. Aside of Lamb's boot on the post in frustration.
I'm not entirely sure how Thomas Lamb missed this. Look at the position he's in. That's a big miss. That's why he kicks the post. I mean, he should have got on the end of that. If really, with that sort of run, that sort of trajectory, any contact's a goal.
Worked out wide by the boots. Nuno Reis almost playing as a right winger. So dominant to City in terms of possession. Trying to move Sydney around, get them out of shape. Barisha thought about the shot. Clips it through for Leckie. Good first touch. Rebounds off Redmayne. O'Neill not within the vicinity to apply the finishing touch.
That was beautiful football.
It's just City's second corner. Sydney have had one. Barisha's outswinger. And not it in this time! Curtis Good! The only player left from the Melbourne Heart days when they wore red and white sends those in City blue into raptures, and it's his first goal of the season. An opportune moment to score it, and City have the advantage. Lamb. The boots fires it in. McLaren. Well, they were queuing up there. There was McLaren, and then behind him, Leckie.
Did they get in each other's way?
Possibly.
It should be two.
If they can just maintain that one-goal deficit, then perhaps we'll see the likes of Lolly and Wood. Here's Jordan Boss, though. Such an exciting player when he runs at pace. He's way off beam with the finish this time. Dropping back into play to auxiliary midfielder. Here's Tilio. And Jordan Boss beaten away by Redmayne. Out it comes to Thomas Lamb. Goodness me. He put some power behind that one. Good hit, but straight at Redmayne. Threaded through for Berisha. Important touch by Wilkinson. The boots. In it goes. That could be the clincher. Jamie McLaren from close range, who equals now his best ever seasonal return with his 25th of the campaign. And Melbourne City are surely headed for a 4th consecutive grand final.
And I think this is becoming an unfortunate night for Jack Rodwell, in particular for Sydney. On the Harvey Norman replay, he lost Curtis Good for the first goal, and as Naboot fires this in, it's gone off Rodwell for an own goal.
Your eyes better than mine, Harps. Clear own goal. McLaren sliding in with him, but the final touch very clearly off the defender. They all count. A little pocket of space for Valon Berisha. Segicic. Sydney just sharper. City just should sharper, I should say. And it's Jamie McLaren who fires just wide of that left-hand upright.
Still hungry, still sharp in those turnovers. Sydney completely beaten at the moment.
This ball here will favour Grant. Caceres has his pocket picked by O'Neill, and Tilio's away down the left. It's Marco Tilio! That'll do it, if there was any doubt at all. Melbourne City into the grand final. A thunderbolt from Marco Tilio as he moves into double figures for the season. And City are 3 clear on the night, 4-1 on aggregates.
Well, on the meatworks floor, look at the butcher of Melbourne. Aidan O'Neill on the Harvey Norman replay. Just pounces on the Sydney midfield. Releases Tilio, who lets rip with the speed and the left foot, and Sydney now hung, drawn and quartered.
Given away by Joel King very carelessly. McLaren sidesteps Lolly, feeds Van der Ven. Beauty! Really good goal by Richard Van der Ven. And Melbourne City have hit 4, and Sydney are sunk without trace.
Reward for Richard Van der Ven. It's been a great pickup this season. On the Harvey Norman replay, it's a really poor turnover from Joel King. And to complete the script, it's an exclamation mark with a line down the page and a dot right there. 4-0, Melbourne City.
Lovely stuff from Richard Van der Ven, and credit too to Jamie McLaren for his part in the build-up, although it was a horrible error by Joel King. It's going to be a very emotional farewell to Amy Park for Jordan Boss. Florent Berenguer is on in place of Matt Leckie. Jordan Boss says his farewells to this venue. He'll be playing in Belgium next year with Westerlo. We wish him all the very best as he makes the big move to Europe. What a talent he is. And of course, he'll still have one more game to play in City Blue. Touched by Van der Ven. Berenguer. Van der Ven. McLaren. And Redmayne prevents further damage to the scoreboard. And he still awaits goal number 25.
Well, it could be 5. It should be 5 by now. Andrew Redmayne standing alone between Melbourne City and that ignominious scoreline for Sydney. Van der Ven very tidy and quite catch it, Jamie McLaren, as he might have.
And that is that. What a performance by Melbourne City. Helped, it must be said, by that early red card shown to Max Burgess, which really tipped the balance heavily in favour of Rado Vidicic's team. Curtis Goons got the opening goal to edge them in front in terms of the tie shortly afterwards. And then in the second half, they simply blew Sydney away. Fortress Amy Park remains unbreached as City remain on track to add the title to the Premiership already in their cabinet. Sydney falling short in the end, and it will be Melbourne City against Adelaide or the Mariners for the trophy in 2 weeks' time. Full time at Amy Park, Melbourne City 4, Sydney FC 0. City go through 5-1 on aggregate.
Melbourne City romp into a 4th straight grand final after a commanding performance in the second leg. Join us after the break as we wrap up the rest of the action from the semi-finals. Welcome back to the Isuzu UTE A-League highlights show. The Mariners have had the wood over Adelaide this season, and that continued in the first leg, coming from a goal down to defeat Adelaide 2-1 at Coopers Stadium. A record-breaking sellout crowd will cram into Industry Group Stadium in Gosford to see if their beloved Mariners can make the grand final for the first time in a decade. Robbie Thompson and Daniel McBreen are calling the action.
Here's Nkololo. Back out with Max Ballard. Kaltak. Back for Ballard again. Incredible that those two, he and Nisbet, just one yellow card between them. Two youngsters who have been so impressive in the middle of the park. 22, 23 years of age for Nisbet, 22 for Ballard, who's just picked up 2 degrees from the University of New South Wales while playing. As it's long, over the top, Gauci. Has he got there? What does the referee make of that? Because we've got 2 Mariners down. The contact was a yard outside the box. I didn't see any arms or hands used by Gauci. 24 set-piece goals. It is Goodwin. Again, it's near post. It's Cummings who heads away. Alagic, he was looking for Goodwin. It was the right idea, but it was well read by Nisbet. Silvera, and now Tullio takes over. Nkololo charging through the middle. Marco Tullio still looking for Nkololo. Isaiah strong in the challenge, but I don't think he's kept it in play. And from one corner at one end, the play pours up the other end of the field.
Geez, exciting stuff, isn't it? On one end, it could have been a ball through. Nisbet saw it, played it forward. Sam Silvera helped it on.
In it comes, flicked on, back post, Triantis steers it back towards goal. It was Nkololo's flick on, and Gauci claimed. And now Goodwin, fantastic ball forward. It's in behind Nkololo, Halloran. The cut back for Clough, oh, off the post. The base of the left hand upright. And from one corner at one end, straight up the other end.
I think we can record that and just keep replaying it. Gauci straight away, and it was Goodwin who started it with a wonderful ball to Halloran. Great vision there to cut back to Clough. And it just clips the outside of the post. Beautiful free-flowing football from both teams. And it's inches away from drawing level on the tie.
Turning away from Ballard and Tullio. Ooh, Triantis straight through Alagic. Oh, how about that from Marco Tullio? The Brazilian turning on the style. Silvera, side down by Popovic. And that'll be the first booking.
Well, it was cynical, wasn't it? But he had to do it. Scintillating play from the Central Coast Mariners. One of the hallmarks of a goal of the year contender. Started by the aggressive challenge from Triantis, and then the Brazilian flair. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Wonderful ball through. Silvera with the touch, and look at that challenge.
It is McGarry. Back post, oh, and side netting from Brian Kaltak.
Well, I don't think he believed the ball was going to make it to him. A wicked ball in for McGarry. Gauci misses. And he tries to react. You can see there it's come through bodies, and he just tries to get his body in the way because I don't think he can see the ball as it comes through.
And Kololo goes to ground. Goodwin comes away with the football. Oh, he's closed down. He does well, the Socceroo. And now Kitto taking over down that left-hand side, loses out to Nisbet. And Kololo's stayed down. That's nicely done. Cummings driving into the area, needs to find an option. The comeback and the goal! Sammy Silvera ignites the fireworks in Gosford. They empty the bench. They're coming from everywhere. The Mariners lead by 1 on the night, 2 in the tie, and have 1 foot in the grand final.
Well, they've almost blown the roof off the joint. The crowd's gone wild. A scintillating piece of play from Jason Cummings down that right-hand side. Harvey Norman replay will show the ball comes forward, and he looks like he's going nowhere here. He just is a little feint and drags it, and now he has to get towards the goal. And he's looking who's coming to support, and who it is. Sammy Silvera, the man who's been mixed in everything in that first half, comes sliding into the box. Just a little pass back, and he tucks it away into the far corner. And it's a 2-goal advantage to the Mariners now. Fantastic play from Cummings, tidily put away from Silvera. That's advantage Mariners.
Alagic can't run onto that one. Ballard with Kaltak. Now with McGarry. Well, Matt Simon, the Mariners sporting director, just told us a minute before that they were the happier of the two sides, that they were perfectly happy with how things were going, and they still led by a goal. Well, now it's 2.
Well, it's a disaster for Adelaide. Absolute disaster. Start in this second half. They'd soaked up so much pressure to the back end of that first half, and then came themselves with a couple of forays forward.
And Tullio has got the better of Popovic. And Kololo at the back post. Oh, almost an own goal. Tullio again. And it's in. The Mariners are on their way now. Marco Tullio from an impossible angle, threading the needle. They've waited a decade for this. But the Mariners surely now are heading to the grand final.
Well, Robbie, you said he was rubbing off on the other players. Well, on this occasion, the Harvey Norman replay will show he says, well, I'm going to do it myself this time. Wonderful ball forward. Look at the strength there to hold off the defender. And now it's a decision. Do I play the ball? Gets a little bit lucky. Good save, Gauci. Everyone thinks he's going to square it. He knew what he wanted to do. As Gauci steps off the line, he just tucks it away in that near post area. Composed, quality finish from Marco Tullio. He's provided so much entertainment for this club at the back end of the season. And that's just another highlight to put on the reel. And the Mariners now have a healthy lead. And Nick Montgomery knows what that means.
Tullio delivers the ball in. The header from Alagic. Goodwin. Farrell. His first touch. Nisbet. Back with Ballard. For Tullio, great first touch. Wonderful touch into the area. The cutback, Nisbet. Cummings! Saved by Gauci. Farrell drives it back in. Cummings is there again. And finally, Joe Gauci claims the ball. That was almost curtains. The intensity has been through the roof. Halloran hounding Nectarios Triantis, Vukovic. He's played Nisbet into a little bit of trouble. Irankunda taking too long, pocket picked by Jacob Farrell. And the Mariners have numbers forward here. Silvera, Vitulio. Now Theoharis. Comes back inside. Oh! How close was that? Fizzing past the upright.
Well, what an impact he's had. This is at the other end. That duel, Farrell's winning it, nips in, wins the ball, and that's where it starts. Theoharis, 1v1, comes across and just strikes it across the face of Joe Gauchi's goal.
For the moment, we're being denied round 3 of Irankunda v Farrell because Irankunda's playing through the middle, just behind Halloran. There's a more central attacking option. That was a big nudge in the back from Javi Lopez. Referee says it's all fair. Here is Irankunda. Wide for Goodwin. Halloran accelerates. Clough as well. Halloran near post. It was a good idea from Goodwin. Now Irankunda. Irankunda still hits it. Oh, off the post. The 17-year-old. Almost giving Adelaide the lifeline they so desperately need. There's not even time to take the corner. 10 years on, the Mariners are returning to the grand final. The youngest side in the competition will lock horns with Melbourne City at Combank Stadium in 2 weeks' time. It was just a bridge too far for an Adelaide side that's confidence abandoned them at the most important part of the season. Confidence, that precious commodity in football, well and truly on the side of the Central Coast Mariners. Goals at the start of the second half from Sammy Silvera and Marco Tullio, and a clean sheet to their veteran goalkeeper Danny Vukovic, crowning what has been an incredible night in Gosford for the Central Coast Mariners and their 20,000 plus fans. What a night for the home side, who win 4-1 on aggregate. It's all finished here in Gosford. Central Coast Mariners 2 and grand final bound. Adelaide United 0.
Another quality performance from this young Mariners side, and Adelaide United fall just short of the decider after another season to celebrate for Carl Veert's Reds. So it is first v second, Melbourne City v the Central Coast Mariners in the 2022-23 grand final. Two teams with goals aplenty in them and a whole heap to look forward to at Combank Stadium on grand final day, Saturday the 3rd of June. See you then.